Alrighty, welcome into the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave, cavetalkradio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app. Great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd, Rich, and Selmo. Of course, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube Live as well. So before the show, we were just talking real quick. I wasn't aware of this. There's an investigation going on into, among other celebrities, Steph Curry and Tom Brady, as it relates to their involvement or investment in and endorsement of the now bankrupt cryptocurrency, or as I call it, cryptocrapacy, FTX. It's an ongoing fluid thing. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it other than to say this. This is why I have not put $1, 1 cent into anything crypto, because it's a industry, and I'm being generous there. It is an industry that is really yet to be defined. And what I mean by defined is, by its definition, it's loosely or completely not regulated until something like this, where like a regulating body decides, oh, no. We're not dealing with that. So you're just waiting. It's like walking through the fields of the Somme today, hoping you don't step on an unexploded landmine, because they're still there, but you just don't know where or when they're going to blow up and who's going to get blown up by them. Like, that's how I feel about this whole industry. So that's why I won't touch it. Now, I'm very confident that Tom Brady and Steph Curry did not knowingly do anything illegal or nefarious. I'm sure of that. But
I don't think any of the celebrities did.
Well, probably not. I don't know anything about the others in the article I saw. Larry David, for example, I don't know anything about him other than I know his name. But like,
Shaq.
Okay, I didn't even see Shaq. Okay, so yeah, I would know Shaq too. Like, those three, I'm positive didn't knowingly do anything or participate in something that they thought was illegal. I'm sure of that. But it's like being in the car with someone who gets caught with illegal drugs. You're just as guilty. And maybe that's where this is going. Maybe it's not. Hopefully it's not. I mean, this feels much more like Enron to me than it does, some like, Bernie Madoff type of situation where it was an absolute known scheme. Although maybe not. I mean, though I will say one thing. I've read more about the CEO of this thing than anything else, and this guy was a ball of wax. I mean, this guy, he sounds like the type that would rob his mother if it saved him 5 cents. So,
yeah.
I personally think the company was probably corrupt and fraud to the core, but I don't know that was known to anyone until very recently. So
it wasn't, from what I found.
Right. So I believe that. So I think Curry, Shaq, all these people, Brady, they probably just got caught up in this. But I think what they're guilty of is a lack of judgment. Lack of judgment, not of the particular company, but of putting their money into this industry as in general. It really feels to me, and this is why I never level up quickly in video games, in 2K or other games. It really feels to me like on those games, they ask you to spend real money on fake money. Whenever you invest in cryptocurrency, it feels to me like you're spending real money on fake money. You're investing real money into fake money. And this is a perfect example of why I feel that way. The whole collapse of this thing. I mean, this was one of the big 3 or big 4, of the cryptos. But like, that's the thing. You could just make a new crypto. They just made up their own coin. No, it doesn't work that way. Like, yeah. Oh, I'm rich. I made up.
It does for a while.
Yeah. I made my own coin too. I'm rich. I made millions of them. Oh, wait. No one wants them?
For the record, I did dabble in early. Got out quickly and won't go back. So
there you go. Yeah, I
got out at a good time to get out.
There you go. I was always highly, highly suspicious, and beyond suspicious, I would almost say incredulous toward crypto, because I feel that it is at its core it's a tool being used to undermine national sovereignty by undermining the sanctioned currency of whatever country it's operating in. And I'm just not a fan of that. It's a tool for globalism, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know what else is at stake here?
What's that?
A lot of fake money.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I want more of my fake money.
For the record, people who don't know, and I don't think it's that many, Larry David was the co-creator of Seinfeld and the creator and star of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I knew he was the creator of Seinfeld. I knew I knew his name for a reason.
Never on the show.
Right. No, he was behind the scenes.
The only thing he ever did, he was the voice of George Steinbrenner, who was never seen on TV.
Right.
And he did a great Steinbrenner.
He did. He did. I liked that. That was my dad's favorite show. That was my dad's favorite show.
It was creative.
Yeah, my dad loved that show. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff to get to today. Of course, we're going to do our NFL picks. No show the next 2 days. A lot of NBA to get to. Significant NBA yesterday. So that's something definitely to get to. You know, what I was going to open with today, you know, obviously we got the World Cup going on right now, and we got, you know, some people into that. The only thing I'll say about that is the World Cup to me is, it feels like an Olympics with only one event. Like it really, it is probably my least favorite major sporting event. Not even favorite. Look, the biggest sporting event that I care the least about. Like, it's totally irrelevant in my mind. I couldn't care less about it. I really couldn't. I don't know any of these players. I don't follow any of these leagues. I don't even know the American players for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll know like 2 of them. Like, it's just irrelevant to me. And what's funny is, I don't know how well the growing popularity of MLS and soccer in America in general translates to the popularity of this event in America. Because I feel like America is not one of the strong contenders in this thing. And I think the second we're officially out, which I don't even know, maybe are we? I don't know. I don't follow it. But like,
no, we are not. Okay. Nobody's out yet.
Nobody's out yet. I didn't think there was eliminations yet, but I don't really know. But like, I just wonder how many people watch when their country isn't involved. Like, it would seem to me something that is built around countries would be decreasing in its audience as the event moved on into its final rounds, as there were less countries in play. It would seem like it would almost be reverse of even the Olympics. I mean, like, even the Olympics, like, because a country's never eliminated, you know, necessarily. Right. Individuals are eliminated in individual events. So, like, as you get closer to the main events and the popular events or the later rounds of any given event, then all of a sudden, boom, people watch more. This almost seems like it would be reversed. Like, the closer you get to the finals, the less people are watching because there's fewer countries still involved.
Right. Around the world, that's not a problem.
So, like,
here it is.
Here it is. So, okay, so if I'm a soccer fan in England gets eliminated, I'm going to watch a match between Brazil and Spain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That surprises me, but hey.
Why? Because the Premier League doesn't just have players from England.
Right. That league has players from around the world, of course.
Right. So if you're a fan of Tottenham,
of an individual player, right? Okay.
Yeah. That player could be playing for one of those teams.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, there's always going to be that viewership.
Yeah. Okay.
I've watched it in the past casually. I normally don't. It doesn't affect me when America goes out. Having my family come from Italy, I will watch the Italians play all the way through.
Manja.
A lot of people are like that. And it's not even in this country, a lot of people are like that. German Americans will watch Germany right till the end.
Well, of
You don't
course.
see it as much with the US team, though,
Right,
which
right,
is surprising.
right. Yeah. Well, there you go. All right. Well,
But this year, with the atrocities in Qatar and the overall corrupt influence, this was even corrupt for FIFA. I mean, normally FIFA's corrupt, but this really went above and beyond. So I have not watched a second of it, nor do I plan to.
extra special corruption. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this wasn't 101. This was advanced corruption.
Hey, there you go. Getting fancy with it. All right, let's take our first break. We'll come back. We'll do the radio question of the day. Back after this, it's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then, if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, we're back. It's time for the question of the day here on the Gary Ayd Show.
They say those who can't do, teach. But what about those who can do? I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
You've been working hard, doing the right thing, and paying your taxes and putting your hard-earned money in the Medicare piggy bank all your life. And now it's time to break the piggy bank and get something back. Medicare. If you didn't know it, Medicare is health insurance for people over 65.
All right. Seems like, I don't know. Sometimes this thing doesn't like to save. We'll get the right one eventually. We did that one yesterday. One thing I did want to add to while we have a second is I do think that the growth of soccer in America on a grassroots level and then on a spectator sport level is indicative of the growth over the last couple of generations of the suburban excuse me, geez, of the suburban phenomenon. I feel like soccer is very much a suburban sport. It's a very, it absolutely is.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, without a doubt. It's
very much an inner city sport because you have a lot of Hispanic kids and a lot,
no,
a lot of people that will gravitate toward the sport.
Oh no, soccer is played in. Oh my God, it's the definition of a suburban sport. Other than maybe baseball. I mean, it's it's crazy. I mean, every soccer booster I know, which that's not a lot, but the couple I know are basically businesses and organizations in like small and medium-sized towns. Oh no, it's a big time suburban sport. And I think that the generation that really spawned the growth of it, the current generation of participants, are essentially the offspring of the last generation that really moved heavily from cities to suburban areas. Like my generation and the generation behind us, for example, uh, there were huge sections of the population that moved from the cities to suburban areas in my parents' generation. And so now those kids, my generation, and the people a little younger than me, 10 years or so younger than me, are making soccer the most popular sport in terms of participation and increasingly growing its viewing audience. I think the deurbanization had a lot to do with it. But in any case, here's the question of the day.
Football fans are making a comeback. I am KO. Back in a minute with your sports question of the day.
You've been working hard, doing the right thing, and paying your taxes and putting your hard-earned money in the Medicare piggy bank all your life. And now it's time to break the piggy bank and get something back. Medicare. If you didn't know it, Medicare is health insurance for people over 65, and you paid for it with your tax dollars. Medicare plans now have more benefits than ever. That's good news, especially if you're like me and looking forward to paying as little as possible for good health insurance. Call and find out what Medicare plan is best for you. Save your time. It's valuable. We've already done the research for you. And in one quick phone call, you can learn how to get the best Medicare plan designed exactly for you. Hey, it's one of the most important decisions in your life. Let us help you through it. Here's our number. Call 65 Plus Medicare now at 855-301-5506, 855-301-5506. That's 855-301-5506.
NFL attendance has made a comeback. The league has observed the highest per game average in years. Now that the pandemic restrictions on venue policies and fan behavior have been lifted, fans are rewarding the league with their presence and their money. 26 of the league's 32 teams reported increases, and only 4 have seen declines in fan attendance. Sports Business Journal's Ben Fisher reports much of the credit is due to individual clubs for ramping up their fan engagement and for finding new ways to connect with fans. Question: have you or have you not been to an NFL game this season?
I don't attend a lot of live sporting events, but one of my really close friends is now I think in his like 7th or 8th year as a Giants season ticket holder. And just from talking to him on a regular basis, he's definitely going to more games than he has in the last year or two. I think football, it does. First of all, I want to say this. This doesn't surprise me at all. I think football has a appeal to going to the games that other sports don't, because of stuff that has nothing to do with the actual game being played while it's being played. The whole tailgating experience is the reason a lot of people will go to a football game over a baseball or a basketball or a hockey game or anything else. It's just, for whatever reason, it's not that you can't tailgate at those other sports. It's just that for whatever reason you don't. There's a at least nowhere near in the same quantity. There's an association, a national association with tailgating in football games. It just is. The only other sport that kind of has that same level of association is auto racing. Beyond that, it's like that. Like that's the thing. Like that's what you do with football. So I think people are just look. I think the COVID, forced lockdowns had a lot to do with it. I think there was a brief time around 2016, 2017 where there was definitely some pushback on the political front from the political right in the country after the Colin Kaepernick garbage. But I think that given time and distance from both COVID and that Kaepernick stuff, which the NFL distanced itself from to a great extent, I think this was, pretty foreseeable. People are not over their addiction to football. They're not over their addiction to alcohol. They're not over their addiction to food. They're not over their addiction to associating with their friends and the tribalism of being around other Giant fans or Cowboy fans or whatever team you're talking about. And those are not going anywhere anytime soon. And as long as those addictions remain strong, the draw and pull of tailgating at a football game will remain equally strong. So this doesn't surprise me in the least.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I do go to more sporting events than you do.
Yes.
This is one I choose not to go to. If I want to see a game, I want to see a game. I love the way they said when they eased up COVID restrictions and eased up behavior restrictions. That's really one of the reasons I don't go.
Yeah. No, I mean, and the thing is, like, I live close enough to Giant Stadium or Meadowlands as MetLife Stadium, whatever the hell it's called. I live close enough to it that I could see going to tailgate and then going home when the game kicks off. Like I would totally do that. I would totally do that.
I've done that. One of the last times I went, I did that, and I get out of the parking lot very easily.
Well, of course, because the game's starting. Yeah, and I think that right there is that proves my point. The fact that anyone would think to do that illustrates what I'm talking about. Like, you wouldn't think to go to a baseball game, tailgate for 2 hours, and then go home.
Right.
Like, you would only do that with football.
Right.
There's something about those football tailgating parties that's like, I mean, because people go all out. I mean, you see some shit at those things. I mean,
people get smashed. That's one reason I do not have the time, patience, or tolerance to spend 3 more hours around drunks. I don't.
I mean, I wasn't even talking about the drunkenness. I meant in terms of how creative they get with their equipment for these tailgating parties. I mean, I see people with
the
full
tailgates
trailers.
are awesome.
There's full trailers that I've seen 53 footers wrapped in team colors that were just owned by some guy. Like, it's not even a team thing. It's like, this is just like sits in his driveway. It's like, what?
It's the same thing here. You'll see like a row of smokers.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of these huge smokers set up smoking thousands of pounds of meat.
I know. It's incredible.
The day before.
Right.
So you could have it on Sunday.
Right.
It's amazing.
There's something very America.
Nashville is always good for that.
Nashville, yeah.
And the people there are extremely friendly. If you're walking through their lot and they're tailgating, they see you, especially if you're wearing the other team's colors, they'll invite you to eat.
That's awesome.
Which wouldn't happen in a lot of cities.
Come have some food. Yeah. All right. I remember one time.
It is an NFL phenomenon, and it's great.
I had an experience one time a few years ago. I guess it was more than a few years ago. I was at it wasn't a football game. It was a concert. That's what it was. It was at Meadowlands. It was a Bruce Springsteen concert. And I was with my friend Richie, my friend Phil, and was there anyone else? It might have just been the 3 of us. There might have been one other person with us. But I think it might have just been the 3 of us. In any case, we're just roaming the parking lot an hour or 2 before the show's supposed to start. We had our own barbecue equipment, but we brought a football to toss around. It was about this time of year. Maybe it was a month earlier. Maybe it was October. So it was like, nice weather. It was like, sweater weather, basically. So we're walking around and we're tossing the football around. And then there's this group of people that just, for whatever reason, we caught their eye or they caught ours. And next thing you know, we're like, eating at their tent, and they're coming over to our tent. And it's so much fun. It's such an element of just like humanity to it that it's just the best part a lot of times of going to an event like that is just the time in the parking lot beforehand. And, credit to these organizations because they don't really make any money off of that directly. So credit to them for never like messing with that and just letting it be. Cause like, that would be an easy thing if you're like a bean counter to try to like, monetize or in some other way control or regulate. And good on the organizations for never doing that.
That's why I always tell people here when they say, well, the Bills are a great economic value to the area. No, they're not. People are in their trailers on Thursday in that lot.
Right.
They're not hitting the local places. They're not staying in a hotel. They're staying in their campers. It's an intrinsic value more than any other sport.
Right. Yeah, and I
That's
mean
exactly what it is. And like you said with the Springsteen concert, nobody's going to tailgate for 3 hours to go to a 2-hour NBA game.
no.
You're going to tailgate 3 hours to go to a 3.5-hour football game, plus all the stuff that happens around it. It's a day event.
Right.
And with Springsteen, unlike with many artists, you also get a 3.5-hour concert.
That's true. That's very true. And he's known for that. That's not a surprise when
Yes.
that happens. That's part of his reputation. Everyone that follows his music knows that.
You expect it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And rightfully so.
Right. He's been doing it for 100 years. No, it's very interesting. And one last thing I'll say on this, as far as the monetary value of a team being in an area, I do think there are a lot of ripple effects because, like, for example, those people might not stay in a hotel or buy from a local restaurant, but they very well likely bought those 500 pounds of meat from a local grocery store. Like, it's probably a chain, but it's, those chains are also local, like, so like that's going into the local economy. So they had to buy gas at a local gas station that, they probably ended up, spending some money on various, like, things you get on the road. Like, so there are things, but yeah, they're not like going into downtown and checking out the places that locals would check out. It's not that type of thing.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
But
it also does employ a number of people.
well, that's just it. It does. And
that money stays in the community
yes,
for the most part.
right. And that's where maybe the other sports are maybe a little bit better. I mean, like, for example, like all those bars that surround every baseball stadium, but particularly the ones that are built into cities like Wrigley and Fenway, those two, like those bars.
Pittsburgh and Cleveland are the same
Yeah,
way. So is Toronto.
All those
I bet you
bars and
they all are.
restaurants. Yeah. So that's big. And then, of course, you have, I think hotels are interesting because I think a lot of people go to games based off of places they can go and come home in the same day. I think there's a lot of people, unless they're on like a longer vacation, like, and they're doing this as part of that vacation. But, like I've done that with like Philly. Like, I'll be on a vacation to Atlantic City, so I'm not no Philly hotel is gonna get business from me. I'm staying in Atlantic City at one of the resort casinos, and I'm driving into Philly to do something and driving back.
Right.
So I feel like that's probably a lot of people too.
But a lot of people, and I noticed it in Pittsburgh, how many people are at the hotels that were from out of town. You will get a lot of people coming to see 3 games or even 2 of the 3 games.
Right.
And spending a night in a hotel. So
Right.
it does drive that. And because of the Series R, you play one team for 3 to 4 days. That's more conducive to a lot
hotel.
of hotel
Yes,
stay
no
and-
question.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Good question. Interesting question.
And they all have their pluses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's never a bad thing economically to have a pro sports team in your city.
No.
Whether it's direct, indirect, intrinsic, there's definite, tangible, financial, and other value in having a pro sports team. It just is.
And even having minor pro sports teams in smaller cities.
Yep, makes a big difference.
I was talking to someone in Erie, and he said if it wasn't for the minor league baseball and the OHL hockey teams, that restaurant he was in wouldn't be open.
Yep.
It'd probably be open for business for lunch.
Right.
Because it's downtown.
Right. Makes sense. All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back. We got some NBA to get to. I want to get to that. We'll check on the NHL. We also, of course, have our NFL picks today. News you can use, top 5. A lot to get to. Still getting going here. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, Call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch. Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All right, we're back. So last night, Anthony Davis continues to play just exceptional basketball. The Lakers lost, but I'll tell you something. I know their record's still well below 500, but I actually feel that when LeBron gets back, if Davis can play something like this consistently, Westbrook has really taken to his role. I think if they could find a way to add a shooter, I'm looking at you, Duncan Robinson. I think this team really could have a shot at getting back in the playoff picture and being potentially a difficult matchup for somebody. I feel more hopeful about this roster than I did 2 weeks ago. Let's put it that way.
I can see why.
Yeah, it's a long way to go, but I can see a path forward now where I didn't 2 weeks ago.
There is. I mean, Lonnie Walker's playing real well.
I've always
bench
loved
is
him.
Doing great.
Yep, I've always loved Lonnie Walker. He's long been one of my favorite players from that draft class, and I always thought that given the right circumstance, he could basically do what he's doing right now. I always thought he had this in him.
Don't I know it? I know how much you liked Walker on draft day.
Yes.
Davis did have a big night. What impressed me more to show me that he was into the game was 5 steals and 5 blocks.
His energy these last 5 or so games has been awesome. Someone got to him. I don't know what it was. And I refuse to believe it's just, LeBron's not in there right now. Like, I don't think it's just that. Like, I think someone got to him and was like, dude, stop being a bitch, basically.
It's not. I noticed not last night, but the game before, that every time he came out of the game, LeBron was right there sitting with him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you figure he has to be helping himself.
Yeah.
Is this going to be the be-all, end-all for them? No. There's still many holes to fill.
Yeah, but this goes a long way.
Next month or so will be the time to start to fill them.
Yep, and Davis playing like this goes a long way to solving a lot of problems. I mean, him playing like that, if you add LeBron into it, covers up a lot of the flaws you're inferring. I mean, like, it doesn't fix everything, but it fixes enough that it makes them, I think, a playoff team. Like, and then you just have to fill in some pieces. I really think they should make a play for Duncan Robinson. There's no reason not to. He's wasting away with the Heat. He's exactly what you need. His value couldn't be lower. You could probably get him, I would say, for probably a second round pick in like a piece. Like, I could see, like, he hasn't fit in great in LA. I could see Pat Riley liking Pat Beverly. Like, I could see that as a 1-for-1. Like, the The money's about the
Beverly's
same.
exactly not what they need, but yeah, I get that.
But I mean, he's the type
Just
of guy
maybe
that
for a spark.
yeah, he's the type of guy that Pat Riley would like want. You know what I mean? Like, even though he doesn't really fit their roster. It's just like a Riley type of person.
Right.
If
Right. Yeah, that is exactly the kind of spark they need.
yeah, so I mean, because I would do that in a heartbeat if I could get my hands on Duncan Robinson, because he's just sitting there. And like
Yeah, they're wasting him.
they're wasting
and I
him.
don't understand that.
He's just sitting there. So a couple other games, of course, last night. Well, first of all, what did you make of this of the Suns in this one? No Chris Paul and Mikal Bridges really. I think people don't understand how good he can be offensively too. Like, this guy is perfectly capable. We saw last night 25 points. He usually plays a lesser role, but he's capable of putting up points when given the chance to.
He is, and he did.
Oh, he did.
That's the good thing. They do have guys that can step in. It hurts their depth without Paul, but
Oh, yeah.
Cameron Payne did okay.
Yes, he did.
But again, it does hurt your bench. But the Suns played well. Bridges really did step up. Ayton had his hands full. It was a nightmare matchup for him, but he had a double-double.
Yep.
He did his part. You know you can count on Booker to do the same.
Couple other games last night. Kings continue to win. They're 10-6. They beat the Grizzlies last night.
With Morant and Jackson.
Yep. This was a big one. This is a legitimate win, as they say. Pistons pulled an upset on the Nuggets by 2. And the game that I really want to spend some time on, no Joel Embiid, no Maxey, no problem. The Sixers dispatched the Nets in Philly without really their two best offensive players. PJ Tucker pulled off something really impressive. He played 37 minutes last night and didn't score a single point. That's amazing. I just had to throw that out there. Tobias Harris, people tried to run this guy out of town. They're idiots. 24 points, led the way. They got 22 from Melton, 19 off the bench from Reed, 16 off the bench from Yang, 16 from Milton. Melton and Milton, that's confusing, but hey, what are you going to do?
Harris seems to get a lot more attention when Embiid doesn't play. What Philly has to figure out as to how to get that fixed. And I think without Maxey there, or Harden for a little bit, they have to count on Harris.
Yep.
Milton had a nice night. Melton, like you said. Yeah, PJ Tucker, 37 minutes. He had 3 steals, but yeah, 0 on the score sheet.
Yeah, nothing.
Durant, to me, looked disinterested last night. Irving shot well, but didn't do anything else. Ben Simmons was their best player. He was the one that actually worked on both ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 steals, 3 blocks in this one.
He passed the ball extremely well.
Yep.
He was engaged.
Yep.
He was active.
Yep.
He drove to the basket. He cleaned up around the basket. He worked on defense. The rest of the team was just there. There is absolutely no excuse for that.
No, I think your analysis is spot on, and I was very surprised. I really thought that this was a shoo-in blowout opportunity for the Nets. You knew Simmons was going to be engaged in this one, obviously. You knew he was, if he had any pride in him at all, you knew he was going to be up for this game. I mean, he had to be.
And he did.
And you thought his guys would come around with the same energy for him. And you know, now you're playing a team without its 2 best players. I mean, 3 best players. Harden didn't play in this one either. I mean,
right.
You're playing their backups, and you lost.
And you can't do that job. That's embarrassing.
That's a bad loss for the Nets. It really is. That's a really bad loss. all losses aren't created equal. They count equally in the standings, of course, but they imply certain losses imply and point out different things, just like certain wins imply and point out different things. The value in a win or a loss beyond its absolute value of just one in either column is really noticeable in terms of what it says about maybe the character or the makeup of a given team. And this is a perfect example of like what this Nets team is character-wise. They're a team of talented but blah type of athletes who just, some nights they beat teams purely on their talent, and other nights, when that's not enough, they just don't have that extra something. Whereas like Giannis has both. Giannis is, both talented and he's got that it factor.
That's the earmark of a flawed team.
Yes, very much so.
A very flawed team.
Yes, very much so.
If you don't show up to play, it's not happening. Period. They didn't show up to play. I give Simmons credit because he worked just as hard in the fourth quarter as he did the first.
Yep. I'm happy.
And would you have thought that was going to be your guy to lead you like that?
I'm happy to see Ben Simmons starting to play well again, because
I am too.
I've always thought he was an excellent player. And this idea that he forgot how to play basketball was like, I don't know. I always looked at it and thought, like, this guy's way too good to be this bad.
And I will give you props from something you said from day one when they parted ways with Steve Nash. I almost said Kevin Nash. That scares me.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. Can you imagine what Udoka could do with this team?
No, I mean, yeah, I can. That's why I was so adamant of trying to say they need to hire a guy.
Oh, absolutely.
I definitely can imagine.
I think they'd have to trade one of the two, Durant or Kyrie, because one of the two is going to give them problems.
Yeah, but the whole reason you bring in Udoka is like, because that's exactly what we said about Brown and Tatum for different reasons. It wasn't so much they were going to give him problems like, prima donna drama, but it was more like there's no way they can work together. They don't play well together. They're too much alike. Like, it was more an on the court clash, and he fixed that. So before, if I signed Udoka as my coach, before I ever considered trading one of those two, I give him half a season or so to see if he can work his magic and get them to just play together. Because the truth is, like, that's the whole charm of the attraction. Like, honestly, if I hire Udoka and then 8 months later, 6 months later, whatever it is, I still feel the need to trade one of those two because they're causing me problems, I've kind of lost on my signing of Udoka. One of the reasons I want to sign him is I have high degrees of confidence in his ability to, circle the wagons a little bit. That's kind of his magic skill as a coach, in my opinion.
I agree with you on that, but the problems he had with Tatum and Brown were a lot more fixable and strictly on the court than the problems he would have with.
No, it's a different challenge. There's no question about it.
Yes.
But I'd like to see him attempt
he's not up to it.
I'd like to see him attempt it first, is what I'm saying, before I blew it up.
Yes.
And I also would never feel that I did everything possible to make this work if I didn't hire him. Like, if they never hire Udoka and it's just Jacques Vaughn, who's a fine coach, I'll always have that thing in the back of my head. Would this have worked with Udoka? I'll always think that. Now, that maybe other people don't. That's fine. That's my opinion. But I'll always ask that question. But we'll see. I mean, the bottom line is, the one thing I'll say is, I don't think Ben Simmons, I'm going to give Vaughn some credit here. I don't think Ben Simmons comes out of his shell the way he's starting to and starts playing the way he's starting to play these last 4 or 5 games under Steve Nash. I don't think that happens.
I agree.
I think Vaughn deserves a lot of credit for this. I think he figured out quickly where to slot Ben in, how to get the most out of his talents with the least amount of pressure on him. And I think Simmons is responding well. He's not putting up world-beating numbers, but he's playing effective basketball and winning basketball and doing things that help teams win games on a consistent basis. And he's putting up decent numbers. It's not like he's averaging 4 points and 6 assists. He's averaging, the last 5 or 6 games, probably 15 and 9, along with some other stuff. So he's playing very well.
He is. Now, if they can get some buy-in from the other two, or just some attention being paid.
Yeah, that would be nice, huh?
It would go a long way, but yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah. Well, and I blame the organization a lot for this, particularly with Kyrie. I mean, how could he in any way respect anyone in that organization after the things they've tried to pull on him? I mean, I know he's not innocent in this, but he has to feel like he's just a marked man there, and he's just been picked on more than once. He has to feel that way, whether that's 100% true or not. I'm sure he feels that way. So that's under that setting. I just don't see how that organization ever gets buy-in from him anyway. I mean, Durant should be a different story. They've bent over backwards and given that guy everything he's ever wanted. So he should be a different story. But Kyrie, I understand where those bridges they're not just burned, they're incinerated.
But why we're not getting the buy-in from Durant?
That's the bigger question. I totally agree. You absolutely need to, because Kyrie, because of the way he plays, you almost don't need as much buy-in from him because he's basically a mercenary anyway, right? He's pretty much a hired gun. As long as he shoots effectively and scores his points, that's what you want from him. That's what you really need from him. He's not your leader. He's not supposed to be your leader. He's an offensive weapon is what he is. And as long as he's doing that, and he did do that last night, you roll with the punches the rest of the way, as they say.
True.
So
very true.
All right. Well, we got a couple of minutes left before the top of the hour. Why don't you hit our NHL from last night?
2 games last night, both involving locals statewide. 8-game losing streak is no more. The Buffalo Sabres took it to the Montreal Canadiens, scoring 3 goals in the first 2.5 minutes and winning it 7-2. Game was hardly ever a contest. One team was engaged and wanted to play. The other one was just wondering how soon they could get to dinner. A lot of big numbers for Buffalo last night. It's true. Big numbers for Buffalo last night. Jeff Skinner had another 5-point night against Montreal, 2 goals and 3 assists. He's had 2 5-point games against them in Montreal in the last 2 years. Tage Thompson had a goal and 3 assists. We had 2 Tom Servo hat tricks in this game. Alec Tuck and Rasmus Dahlin had a goal and 2 assists.
Woo!
Nice way to break the streak. Now you get a tough one tonight at home against St. Louis, so let's see what happens. The late game, it didn't look good at the start. The LA Kings were all over the Rangers, leading them 2-0 after 1 period. And the way the game was being played, it was all LA. That changed, and that changed quick. Rangers had a 3-point second period. Going into the third with a lead, LA ties it. Chris Kreider went to work. His 2 goals were the 4th for them, the game-winning goal, and the 5th, which was an empty net goal. The Rangers won 5-3. Igor Shesterkin stood on his head despite giving up 3 goals. He made 38 saves.
Where did that saying come from? I've heard that saying a million times in hockey, standing on his head. That doesn't sound like a way to make a lot of saves, which I know is what that means. Where did that saying come from?
In other words, he just went above and beyond.
Oh no, I know.
He did it in every way possible.
Oh, I know exactly what it means. I'm saying, where did it come from? Because it's not a very descriptive. What it means and what it sounds like don't match. Is what I'm saying. Like, where did that come
True.
from? That
True,
saying.
but it's been around forever.
Forever. No, I've heard that saying for years. It's just a weird one to me. That's all.
And it's been around as long as I have. But yes, Shesterkin was all over the place, despite a rough first period. In the loss, Kevin Fiala had the third Tom Servo hat trick of the night, a goal and 2 assists. That's the 2 games from last night. There's a full schedule tonight. Local teams playing, one Buffalo. They got a real test tonight, taking on St. Louis, and St. Louis has won 7 games in a row. The Devils are going to try to break that record tonight with their 14th straight win in Toronto. Not going to be an easy game.
That's an unbelievable number. I mean, 14 wins in a row is like that's like a appreciable part of the season. That's like what, 12% of your games?
Oh yeah. Well, if they beat Toronto tonight, they do it. The Islanders are out at Edmonton. Rematch of Monday's game, going to be a tough one. And the Rangers are in Anaheim to take on the Duckies.
The Duckies. All right. Where's Gordon Bombay? Bring him back. Let's go.
He's benched for tonight.
Ah, come on. Give me the Bash Brothers at least then. Let's go. Can we sign Gunnar Stahl? All right, I'll stop. I'll stop. All right. Well, let's go.
Well, he is a free agent.
That's right. It's because he's 50 years old and not available.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and take our top of the hour break. We'll be back in 4 minutes. Top 5 news you can use, NBA games to look at over the next couple of days as we head into the holiday, and of course, our NFL picks for week 12. Week 12. Thanksgiving football tomorrow. Oh, yeah, baby. Let's go, Giants.
It's flying
baby.
by, isn't it?
It's amazing. It really is.
Flying by.
It really is. It really is. So we got all that in the second hour. Quick break. Back in 4 minutes. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Hour 2 on deck. You're on the Cave. Hour 2 of the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave, cavetalkradio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's all there for you. Live on Facebook and YouTube as we speak. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo. A lot to get to this hour. NFL picks, the week ahead in the NBA, news you can use. And of course, right now, top of the hour, that can only mean one thing. Tell us, Jack George.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for King Talk Radio's Top 5.
There we go. I got a little spare coffee in me, ready to go. Iced coffee today. Never too cold for iced coffee. Let's do it. What do we got for the top 5 today?
Well, again, day 3 of the short week and the last day. I've taken it easy on you this week, and I'm going to continue that trend, giving you a tough category,
Okay.
but one I know you'll love. Give me your top 5 all-time color commentators.
Oh, man. John Madden.
I knew that one.
Yeah. The rest of these, who knows? That's just the easy one. I always like, this one's going to surprise some people. It probably won't surprise you because we've talked about this before, but I always thought Doug Collins did an amazing job as a color commentator. I thought he was absolutely tremendous. I thought he's the best I've ever heard at blending analytics with regular basketball acumen and distilling it in a language that was digestible and understandable to a wide range of people. I thought he was just brilliant at it. I thought he talked just enough. I just thought he was incredible at it. Hubie Brown, I mean, he's a national treasure. He's amazing. He's almost like the Madden of the NBA, but I mean, Hubie has personality, but like pales in comparison to Madden, but so does everyone else.
Everyone pales in comparison to Madden.
Yeah, exactly. So,
we probably could have done this for each sport.
Yeah, we probably could have.
And we may.
Let's see, baseball-wise, baseball doesn't stand out as much because it's much more of a play-by-play guy's world. Joe Morgan was good, but it wasn't so much Morgan. It was the combination of the two. Like I feel like in baseball, I can't extract when I know a great color commentator, it's paired with a particular broadcaster. Like I could say Tim McCarver, but it only is Tim McCarver with Joe Buck. I could say Joe Morgan, but it's only Joe Morgan with John Miller. Like it's hard to extract them from each other. It's easier to extract the play-by-play.
Susan Waldman.
Yeah, I don't much care for her work.
She knows what she's talking about, and she kind of keeps Sterling in as much check as you can.
Every time she talks, I wish she wouldn't. I'm not a fan of her work. I've never liked her work at all myself personally, but I know she's popular, which is why she's been there 100 years. But yeah, personally,
she knows what she's talking about, and that makes a big difference.
I don't know. I don't really have much to say about that other than I'm not a fan. I like John Smoltz. I think he does a good job.
He really does.
Yeah, I think he does a very good job. I like A-Rod. I do. I think A-Rod is very knowledgeable. I think he's very opinionated in a good way. But my representative of baseball is gonna be Joe Morgan. To me, or Tim McCarver, one of those two. To me, they're the guys I look at as like they were awesome. John Smoltz is really, really good though too. Let's see others in football. I know a lot of people don't like him. I think Chris Collinsworth is awesome. I'm a big fan of his. I thought him and Michaels were a tremendous team together. I like Collinsworth a lot. I think he's doing a good job now with Kevin Burkhardt as well.
I am not at all a fan.
Yeah, no, I know. A lot of people aren't. I think he's absolutely incredible.
Great comment was Steve Stone.
Steve Stone.
And I think he is amazing with White Sox guy, who's one of my favorite baseball.
Jason Benetti.
Benetti, yes. Name, I drew a blank on the name
Yeah.
for a second.
Yeah, Benetti.
They're a good pair, and they keep even the worst games interesting.
Okay. There you go.
Just another name thrown out there.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is your list.
I mean, I would say, I think Ron Darling is really good. I think David Cohn is really good.
Cohn's knowledgeable.
Yeah,
and
he
it
is.
shows.
Yeah, he is. I'm a big fan of his. I like Ron Darling. I like the color commentator for is it the Timberwolves?
Oh, Jim Peterson.
Peterson, yeah, that's the guy.
Oh, he's really good.
Yes, yeah.
He's one of my favorite NBA color
Yeah,
guys.
he's awesome. I totally agree. Tommy Heinsohn was the man. Rest in peace, but he was the best. He's probably the closest we had to a Madden personality outside of Madden himself. He was just the best.
Although I loved a couple of those years when Bill Walton worked with Ralph Lawler, because just the two of them were, I think Walton just drove him nuts at times.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I'm surprised
Lawler handled it like a pro.
He probably started smoking weed too as a result of dealing with Walton.
But they're close friends today.
There you go.
That's out of everyone he's worked with, that's the person he's still closest to.
There you go.
Is Walton, even though they were a pair.
You know who I liked back in the day too? Steve Snapper Jones. He was a really good color commentator.
Excellent. And I hated the fact they faded him out well before he should have been.
Oh, long before. Yeah, I agree. He was tremendous. This is a long list.
It's all right. Add it up. It gives you got time.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think of some others. A guy I really liked a lot, that I don't think gets enough credit. I'm a big fan of the color commentator for oh god, now I'm drawing a blank. See, it's contagious. For the Mariners back in the day, not I don't remember now. Oh no,
I think I know who you're talking about.
I got it wrong. Never mind. It's their play-by-play man, Dave Sims. I like him a lot.
Oh, okay.
Sims
is solid.
Yeah. No,
always.
No, never mind. I was thinking the wrong guy. Dave Sims is a great play-by-play man. But I think that's a good list. I could go on and on. I mean, obviously Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy.
Yeah.
They have to be mentioned here, of course.
But they have to be together.
They're together, and with Mike Green, right?
Separated.
Yeah, no, that's a package deal. That's why they weren't on my play-by-play list. I'm not going to put them on this list for the same reason, because it's the trio. Like, it has to be like that one entity. Like,
it's Breen, Van Gundy, and Jackson.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's just those three. Just like it would have to be like if we did this for like studio shows. Like my number one would be like the Barkley crew, but like it has to be all of them. Well, we could do without Shaq, but it has to be at least the original three.
Yeah.
I need Barkley, I need Kenny, and I need Ernie.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I could do without Shaq. Shaq just goes up there and mumbles and championship, Shaq. Big man.
Actually, he makes the least amount of comments basketball wise than the others.
Well, yeah, he's just kind of there.
Kenny Smith is like the older brother.
Yes.
That has to try to control the other two.
Yes. And Ernie Johnson's like the dad.
He's like the dad. Like, what did I get myself into?
Oh God,
here?
you guys are my kids. What did I go wrong? Will you settle down? Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it.
And now the tough part.
All right. Madden's number one. Man, I don't even know about number 2. I mean, Hubie Brown, Doug Collins.
Hubie's been great for so long.
Oh, for so long.
You made me reevaluate my list with Jim Peterson. I forgot about him. But he's one of my favorites.
Oh, he's great. Let's see. Man. I guess I'm going to go Hubie at 2. That means Doug Collins is 3.
They pushed Collins out too early,
They did. Well, no.
Him and Steve Jones should have both.
Well, I think Collins took that last coaching job, and then they never really put him back in his
Should have
old
been
spot.
back.
Yeah, right.
He was that good.
You know who was really good too when he was doing it? Steve Kerr was an excellent broadcaster too.
Yes.
Let's see. You know, it's so hard to put him here because it has to be with Miller, but Joe Morgan was awesome. I loved listening to him talk baseball. He was just fantastic. Really was. Very relatable. Was very articulate. He explained complicated things in a succinct, simple to understand type of way.
Yes.
He mixed criticism.
And his personality came through.
Oh, just a great, great guy. He's very genuine. It came right through his work. You're absolutely right. He was awesome. Gone way too soon. He was just tremendous.
Yes.
Big fan of Joe Morgan. Let's see. So that's 4. Who am I going to put in this last spot? I have a few favorites here. I like Ron Darling. I like David.
Yeah, there's
Cohen.
a lot left on your list.
No, there's a lot. I know. I'm going to leave a lot of people off. I liked Tommy Heinsohn a lot.
Heinsohn was the best.
Oh, he was awesome. I liked Bill Walton in his weird, quirky way. Because you knew it was him. Like that was the thing. Like there's only one Bill Walton. Like there's no one even approximates his voice, his style, the way he goes about it. It just very unique.
Oh yeah. I remember an exchange with Walton and Lawler. And Lawler saying, "He's Davis has hit 27 now." It was late in the game, and Walton goes, "Yeah, it's amazing. For 3.5 quarters, I don't think the Clippers ever figured out that he's left-handed." And Lawler tried not to laugh, but that didn't last.
Oh, wow, that's funny. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with coming down to Darling and Heinsohn. I think I'm gonna go with Tommy Heinsohn here as my 5th.
Yeah, that's an excellent choice.
I think I'm going with Tommy Heinsohn because he was just so full of personality. He got on people. He was unabashedly a homer. And you want that with a local radio guy. That's the thing. Like you want homerism with local broadcast teams. You do. It's less desired in a national broadcast group, but if you're a local, whether it's TV or radio, but if in particular radio, you really should be sort of a homer.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And Tommy was.
Absolutely.
He had no qualms about it. Cedric Maxwell's very good too, I have to say.
He is.
Yeah,
he really is.
He does a really good job. I thought the pair of Jim Durham and Jack Ramsey were excellent for many years too.
Yes. You can't get a better mind to do that than Jack Ramsey.
Yeah, he was great.
I know she doesn't do it often, and I know she's not everyone's cup of tea, but when Doris Burke takes that seat, she knows the game. She has the respect of coaches and players, and I wish they'd get her off that sideline role and get her into the analyst chair full time.
Mm-hmm.
She played the game at a high level. Not in my top 5, but
Yeah, she does a decent job.
I know you don't love women in those chairs, but
It's just not. It just there's something about the vocal difference that just like I don't know. It always strikes me as odd. That's just really it's just that. But whatever she
me,
does.
it doesn't matter. I respect anyone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, for me, I'm more about the presentation than anything else. I mean, you have to know your stuff, of course, too. But it's more important. Like that's why my list is full of people more with personality. Like Madden knew his stuff, but he was much more a personality than he was an analyst.
Oh yeah,
Same with Tommy Heinsohn. So I'm more about the personality than I am anything else with color commentators in particular. And with a broadcaster, it's about pacing, it's about cadence, it's about driving the ship, it's about accentuating the right moments. That's why I'm a big fan of Joe Buck.
and Heinsohn is full of
Oh,
personality.
he's Mr. Personality.
He was. Geez, he was the Celtics. I mean,
Yeah, he was.
for all those years after coaching, he goes into the booth and there forever.
Yep.
Never wanted to do national.
Nope. He was a Celtics guy through and through. That's all he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He was Mr.
Fun.
Celtic. Oh, he was awesome. You know who was terrible as a broadcaster? Bill Russell. He stunk. He was so bad. I've heard some of his games from back in the day on CBS, and he stuttered and he struggled to. I think he was so smart for the game. He had such an IQ of the game. He had so many things in his mind all at one time. He could never get one clean thought out in a succinct way. And
he tried to dumb it down, which didn't work.
Yeah, he just didn't have that articulation skill that you need to do that role. It requires a certain level of mental editing and sort of simplification that you have to do seamlessly and instantly in your mind, and then articulate it out through your mouth. It's not something everyone can do.
But as far as smarts,
well, he had the smarts, but it's like a teacher, right? Like in college, like you can't be a brilliant professor but not have any communication or articulation skills. I had so many of those where they were clearly knew their topic. They were so brilliant academically, but they were so incapable in articulating or in teaching, and their role was a teacher. That's if you can't articulate, you can't do that job. I'd much rather someone who's a C in their knowledge but an A in their articulation than the reverse.
And Russell was exactly the opposite.
Right.
His sense of humor still came through.
Oh no, he wasn't like he was watchable, but he had so many obvious flubs because he just wasn't his brain moved too fast for his mouth.
Right.
And he could never get that skill down.
True. Very true. Another one who did it for just a few years but was really good was Rick Barry.
Yes.
Why they didn't keep him in that role,
well, I know the reason for that. Rick Barry absolutely became a get off my lawn grumpy old guy very quickly.
Yeah, but he was not old. He was just ending his playing career when he did this.
Oh no, I get that.
And they only kept him for a few years.
Probably because he was starting to already say, back in my day. It's like your day was 5 years ago.
I don't know. I think he explained things out thoroughly well.
Yeah, I mean,
I know he rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't. I think you really have to be accepting and beyond accepting, interested and passionate about all eras of the sport to be an effective color commentator. I don't want you to be like a prisoner of the moment type either, where like everything that happened today is the best ever. That's equally off-putting, but
yes,
it's just as off-putting when it's like back in my day kind of crowd. Like there needs to be an elasticity of your mind and a overarching passion for every era of the sport to be an effective analyst, because effectively what you're analyzing is how this compares to this, or situations that maybe have happened before. How is this different from that? How is then different from now? Where's there's the similarities? I mean, all that goes into it. And if you are prejudiced or biased heavily against the past or in favor of the present, or either direction, it just compromises your ability to do the job, I think.
And that's the reason why no one, as good as they are on the inside the NBA desk, is an analyst.
Right. No, they all hate the modern NBA.
Yes.
Maybe Kenny a little less so, but
yes, Kenny a lot less.
Yeah,
so.
But those two are just curmudgeon-y.
I like the modern NBA a little less, and I openly admit that.
Yep.
But I don't hate it.
Yeah. See, I don't have a favorite era. I have what I think were tougher eras to play in. Like I've always said, I believe the 90s was by far the softest era, like the weakest era in NBA history. I think the 80s was the toughest. I think the 60s was maybe the best in terms of top shelf talent. I think the 70s was sort of a bridge decade. It was a transition.
The 70s are the forgotten era.
Yeah,
and they shouldn't.
Yeah, they were a bridge decade. There was a lot of change going on. They reflected society.
Yes, because I liked all these eras.
I like them all too. The only one I really don't like is the 90s. And they were okay, but like I had a lot of problems with the 90s. Mainly that there were a lot of really good players, but not many really good teams. Like really, when I look at a lot of those teams, like take Olajuwon's Rockets, for example, they won 2 titles. One title they won without another all-star. That wouldn't happen in previous or subsequent eras, in my opinion, because all the other teams they would have played against would have had a guy who was close to as good as Olajuwon and 2 or 3 other guys who were way better than anyone that he was playing with. I think that era was I think it was a bad era for team building. We'll put it that way. I think the executives of that era never managed to build anything amazing, with the exception of the Bulls, who took advantage of the fact that no one else could figure it out.
Right. And the 2 teams Olajuwon played, he had competitors.
Yes.
Who weren't at his level, but not that far off.
Right.
But again, the teams were put together well enough.
Yeah, right. So, but I've always said I think the 80s is easily the most competitive, difficult era in NBA history. I mean, we know the top 2 teams. Think about how many championships those 76ers would have won if they weren't playing the Celtics every year. Think of how many championships the Milwaukee Bucks of that era might have won in any other era almost. I mean, they would have won at least 2 titles probably. And that was a great team. And
that was a team that was extremely well organized and put together.
Oh, yeah.
But they just didn't have that one over the top guy. Lanier wasn't himself then.
Right. And they played in an era of just, I think the 2 best teams in all of NBA history happened to both play in the 1980s.
Right.
The 80s Celtics and the 80s Lakers. So you had to go through both of them.
As far as the 90s go, the Pistons started that off on a...
Yeah, but the beginning of the 90s was the end of their run. They were really an 80s team.
Yeah, but they won in 90 and were relevant for the next couple of years.
Yeah, but their team foundation was built in the mid to late 80s, and they reached their zenith in 89, 90. So anyway, but so that's gonna be my 5. Madden 1, 2, I'm going Hubie Brown. 3, Doug Collins. 4, I'm going with Heinsohn's 5, and 4, we're gonna go with Joe Morgan.
Joe Morgan.
Yep. There you go.
It's a good list. It's a real good list. I considered Steve Stone with mine, but I don't know. I think, to me, it's like you said, when you put people together like Breen, Van Gundy, and Jackson, I put Stone and Benetti together.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to separate some of these people. It really is.
It is. They really are a duo.
Yes. No, it's hard to separate some of these people. That's how I feel about Morgan and Miller, but I didn't want to not represent baseball on this list, and I liked Joe Morgan
Yeah.
so much that I just kind of broke away from that. But absolutely, when I hear Joe Morgan in my head, I hear John Miller right there with them. Like they're they're inseparable.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And Ron Darling's a standout.
Oh, he's
to me.
amazing. He's amazing. He might be the best analyst active right now in terms of the literal definition of analyzing what's happening on the field and articulating it in a sensible way. He might be the best in the business right now. Harry Carey and Chip Carey. Harry Carey was he's like a personality of a personality.
He was great.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean,
But
he worked so drunk.
But he was the
later
play-by-play
in his
man, wasn't
career.
he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Stone was one of his analysts.
Color guys, yeah. Yep.
But I put him more with Benetti because they just work extremely well together.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how well you work with Harry Carey. I think you just let him go.
Yeah, he just wound up too much, and you
just let him ramble.
Wherever I fit in, I'll fit in.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Come on, Brett. Stone
Yeah,
made Harry
that's-
Carey.
No.
Now,
Harry Carey made Harry Carey.
maybe I'm ignorant to Chicago baseball, but I just learned of Steve Stone today. I've known the name Harry Carey as a euphemism for personality for my whole life.
Right.
Before I even got into media in any capacity, if you said Harry Carey, I would be like, oh, the guy who sings "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Like he has like broad cultural recognition.
He does.
No way Stone made Harry Carey. Come on now.
I mean,
nonsense.
Saturday Night Live parodied him.
Right.
So-
That's nonsense. All right, there we go. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have our NBA games and NFL picks, some news you can use. Let's take a break. We'll come right back. We'll do our NFL picks next. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then, if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, let's get into our NFL picks. What do we got today, Rich?
3 Thursday games.
Yes.
All should be interesting. Let's start with game 1. Bills at the Lions. Do the Lions win 4 in a row?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Next question, Drew Rosenhaus. No, I look, I've been in, I won't use the word impressed, but I've been pleasantly surprised at the Lions the last few games. But no, there's no way the Bills are losing to the Lions. It's not happening. I don't think.
I kind of see it the same way.
It's hard not to. I mean, what are you going to do?
An interesting one, Giants at Cowboys. This is going to say a lot for the division.
Yeah, I mean, this could, if the Eagles falter at all, this could potentially settle the division. Both teams within striking distance of the Eagles if they trip up one more time. So winning this game is going to give the other a huge advantage because it'll give them the tiebreaker. Well, they do play one more time later in the season. But I tell you what, this is a tough one to pick. Now, this game is, where is this game? I forget.
This is at Dallas.
I thought so. I'm rooting for the Giants. It's hard to unsee just how dominant the Cowboys were against a really good Minnesota team last week. So I'm a bit of a prisoner of the moment here. I know that, but I think the Cowboys are a little better. And I think the biggest reason I'm picking the Cowboys in this game is the Cowboys have the type of defense that will be able to hone in on Barkley, force Jones to beat them downfield with 30-plus throws. And I just don't know that Jones is up to that. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Cowboys win this game. I think the Giants keep it relatively close because I think they kind of squeeze the air out of the ball a little bit. I think this game is on the lower side of possessions. So I think this game is going to be maybe closer on the scoreboard than it's going to feel. I'm going to go ahead and say Cowboys win this one 24-17.
Okay. If you're stuck, for anyone listening, with a family member on Thanksgiving who insists on politics and you completely disagree with them, flip this game on.
Yes.
Come together in your hatred of the Cowboys.
That's right. Unification of America's team, baby. Let's go.
Yep, and we all hate them, but
that's right.
We all realize they're good.
They are good.
And I have Dallas as well. The late game, Patriots at Vikings.
Patriots, huh?
Yeah, do they
I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to take a little bit more than 10 points to beat the Vikings. Although it wouldn't have last week, but that's a different story. I think the Vikings bounce back. I still think they're a really good team. I think that they're going to win this game. I think this game is close, but I think the Vikings have a little bit more. They're a little bit better. I got the Vikings.
I agree. I think they are too. Let's get into the Sunday games. Texans at Dolphins.
Dolphins are going to kill them. The Dolphins are one of these teams that I've grown to believe in as the season has progressed, where I didn't necessarily early on. And so, and the Texans are just not good. I'm going to go ahead and say the Dolphins win this one pretty handedly.
I agree. The Texans are no match from them. The Dolphins are actually playing for something.
Yes.
Which also means a lot. Bengals at Titans. Interesting.
This is an interesting game. This could be the most compelling game, one of the more compelling games on the schedule. The Bengals have been playing really well. But man, Derrick Henry's a different type of breed, man. That guy's an absolute monster. I'm going to go ahead and say the Titans win this game, but I think this game could go either way. This is a real pick'em game for me, but I'm going to go ahead and bet on Derrick Henry to do his thing here.
I did as well, although I had it crossed out a couple times.
Yeah, no, this is a tough one to pick. I agree.
It is. Broncos at Panthers. Oh, my God. Who wants this game less?
Yeah, that's a good one. Broncos at Panthers. I'm going to go ahead and
jeez.
I'm calling it. Panthers win.
Ooh, all right.
That's where I have the Broncos these days. I'll take the Panthers over them.
If that's the only game on television, I'll watch bowling. I mean, I can't do it. Bears at Jets.
Who are you taking in that game? The Broncos.
Oh, I had the Panthers.
Okay. You did.
Just
Okay.
because I so don't believe in the Broncos.
Nate the Great. Bears at Jets, you said, huh?
Yes.
I'm going to pick the Bears in this one. I think the Jets are in the beginning stages of an unraveling. I think that their offense just isn't good. I think there is real dissension in this team now. I don't believe for a second that those two defensive leaders posted on accident or liked a status on accident, basically blasting their quarterback. I don't believe that
there's
for
no
a second.
accident there.
There's no way that was an accident. I think that the Jets are in a lot of trouble. I think Justin Fields has really started to figure out how he can make things happen with the current roster he has. Not that the Bears are good.
Is Fields playing?
I forgot about that injury. Oh, man. If he's not playing, then I take back what I'm saying. There's no way the Bears can win anything if he's not playing.
Do we have a status on him? I don't have a...
Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm going to put it this way. If Justin Fields plays, I'm taking the Bears. If he's not playing, I'm taking the Jets.
All right, I got it exactly the same way.
Yeah, I think the Jets are really in the process of unraveling here. I think they're going to finish below 500.
It's quite a possibility, but I have it the exact same way.
Yeah.
And that, we'll decide at game time.
Yeah, because I can't pick the Bears for anything if Fields isn't playing.
It's an interesting game, to say the least. The Falcons are playing a little better than I thought they were. Washington's playing a lot better than I thought they were.
They are.
At Washington, who do you like?
I got the Redskins or the Commies. I do them.
Too.
I do. I think that they're playing well. Unlike the Falcons, who I don't really understand how they've managed. At least with the Commies, I can see that they have a great defense and a great pass rush.
Yes.
So there's an element of their game, just like I always say with the Giants, why I believe much more in the Giants this year than the Jets, even though they have similar records, is that I see the foundation of the Giants. That's clear. That I don't think the Falcons have a foundation yet, whereas I think the Commies do. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Commies get the win. I think they believe in Taylor Heineke, the players anyway, and I think that's enough to beat a bad Falcon team. So I got the Commies.
Tampa Bay at Cleveland.
Tampa Bay at Cleveland. I tell you what, I really still don't believe much in Tampa Bay this year, but Cleveland's lousy. I got to go with the Bucs. Cleveland's just trash. They really are.
Yes. If they were playing anyone else, Tampa Bay, I might not have picked them.
You know, one thing about Cleveland, though, I'm glad we're talking about this. I'm surprised at how little we've talked about Deshaun Watson. Like, he's just, I guess they're just keeping him on the sideline all year this year.
Are they? I haven't heard a thing.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm assuming he's on the sideline all year, because if he weren't, I think we would have heard something.
Is there any real reason to play him?
I mean, other than he hasn't played football in a couple of years, I think there would be some benefit to getting him some real game action for, a few weeks. I do. I mean, he hasn't played in so long. I do think there would be better reason to do that. I do. Just to get him some game action, get some of the guys you think are going to be there next year familiar with his cadences. Yeah, I do think there would be benefit to it.
I think they're going to ease him in, though. I don't think it's happening this week.
Well, no, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen at all. I think if they were going to ease him in, they would have begun that process already.
But he just came back last week.
Yeah, he just became eligible, right? Well, 2 weeks ago. After into week 10, he became eligible. So yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So I got the Bucs. The
Ravens
Buccaneers.
at Jaguars. I thought about this for 5 seconds.
You did?
Just long enough to take me to write down Ravens.
Ravens. That's it. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. No way the Jaguars are beating the Ravens. Although Trevor Lawrence could give you a puncher's chance if he gets hot. But yeah, I got the Ravens.
Let's go into the 4:00 games. Raiders at Seahags.
Woo! Wow. Got to go with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Although the Raiders did win last week.
Barely against another terrible team.
Yeah.
And you have Seattle. Chargers at Cardinals.
Man, the Cardinals got railroaded by the Niners. Now, the Chargers are a much more beatable opponent in my estimation than the Niners are. But I think the Cardinals, that's another team I think is kind of falling apart at the seams. I'm going to go with the Chargers here.
I did too. I think the Cardinals are just, I don't know. I've never been sold on them, but they look worse than I thought they were going to look. And I didn't think they were going to look that good.
So the Jets have named Mike White the starter for Sunday?
Yes.
Ouch.
I don't think they could have went into the game with Wilson.
That's what it looks like.
Does White give him a much better
No.
chance? No.
Well, that's the thing. Like we were talking about this yesterday. To me, this signifies they're done with Wilson forever, or it should. Because if you're going to bench him for a career backup guy like Mike White, or for 50-year-old Joe Flacco.
I mean, they even bypassed Flacco through this.
Well, yeah, I mean, all three of these quarterbacks, I think Flacco gives you the best chance of all of them, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Yeah, but you got to look to the future, too.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't think their future is on the roster. So I don't have to kowtow to either one of these guys if I'm thinking about the future, because my future isn't either one. If you're going to bench a guy who you just took 2 overall a year and a half ago for someone named Mike White, he's not your future. Mike White is not your future. So like their future's not on this roster. So if I'm gonna pretend that I care about winning this year and I'm 6-4, Flacco or Wilson, White would be my last choice.
Right. That's why I think they don't care about winning. I think they realize this quarterback's not on the roster. Flacco probably won't be here next year.
Right.
If we lose, we'll get a better shot at a quarterback.
Right. Yeah. So this is
I'm not gonna say they're trying to. But...
So we can call this the Mike White flag. Ha ha! I got mine in.
Oh.
There it is.
Oh. Is your arm hurt from reaching that far? Saints at 49ers. Yeah, I thought about this one a long time too.
Oh, a whole 3 seconds. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it doesn't take as long to write 49ers.
That's right. The Niners are gonna kill these guys. I mean, the Niners are, I think, the best team in the NFC right now.
They're really turning it on at the right time.
Yeah. I got the Niners in a laugher.
The last 4:00 game, and this should be a good one, Rams at Chiefs. I don't know what the deal is with Stafford. I don't think it matters.
Yeah. I wish this was a good game. This could, in a different circumstance, different season, this could have been a potential Super Bowl preview. Instead, this is probably another bloodbath. The Chiefs win this one, I think, by double digits.
If Stafford played, I thought it might have been a little interesting.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he's going to play. And the Rams defense, especially their line, has been MIA all year.
Oh, they have been terrible.
The Sunday night game. If you're an early riser, don't worry about this one.
No.
Packers at Eagles.
Ooh. Dylan's Eagles. Yeah, let's not go ahead and say the Packers are going to win. Yeah, Eagles win this one. Although the Eagles have not looked great recently. They've looked
don't have to.
shakeable. Well, that's the thing. They're not going to have to look great against a team like this. But
gotta look good enough to win.
But I could see this game. I guess what I'm saying is I could see this game being at times uncomfortable for the Eagles. I could see this game being somewhat close because I just feel like the Eagles are playing right now. But
for a half, I think.
But that's all it takes to beat the Packers is So but I think this game might look close might be close. I do think it might be close.
And that's why there's so many people on the Dallas bandwagon. Look what they did to Minnesota, and the Eagles barely won. Guess
Right.
what? You know what the standings say? Each team won.
Yep, that's right. Yep, that's exactly correct.
Monday night game.
Oh, what do we got?
The Steelers at the Colts.
Ooh.
I've been back and forth on this one.
This is an interesting one. It really is. I'm becoming a believer in Jeff Saturday, the football coach, a little bit at a time.
I am as well.
I'm going to go ahead and say the Colts pull this one off.
I did as well.
Yeah. So do we have any differing games?
I don't think so.
That's unfortunate.
It happens. We might have 3 next week.
All right, there we go. Well, there you have it. All right, let's take
You got some decent matchups in here.
No, there are some good matchups. There really are. I'm really looking forward. I think the game of the week for me, the one I'm most pumped about, and it's not just because it's local, but that Giants-Cowboys game matters a lot. That's a really important game.
I thought you were going to say Buccaneers at Browns.
Oh, that was my second choice. Or maybe Panthers and Falcons. I'm looking forward to that one, too.
That's one for the family to miss, as we like to say.
I can't wait to watch. Who are the quarterbacks in that game? I don't know one quarterback in that game.
You'll have wait.
We got
who in the Falcons?
I don't know.
Falcons playing now. Wait, what do we got here?
They're playing the Panthers, aren't they?
Oh no, they're playing Washington.
Oh.
We know who their quarterback
Oh yeah,
is.
never mind.
Are you thinking of the Panthers are playing the Broncos?
The Broncos, that's what it was. They played the Falcons last week. That's what it was.
I know who each quarterback is.
Yeah, we got the Mayflower and the Wilson.
Yeah.
There we go.
Interesting. It's a good week of picks.
It is a good week of picks. All right. Well, let's go ahead and yeah.
Do any of tonight's NBA games intrigue you at all?
Well, I think we should address that on the other side of the break.
Okay.
We'll take that break real quick. We'll come back and we'll address that. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on the cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, we're back. 5 minutes left. No news you can use today, but we'll talk some NBA. A couple of games that looking at up ahead, Rich. The more I watch the Kings, the more I'm really that's a team I'm beginning to believe in. I really am. They're playing the Hawks tonight. And this is a game that if you had asked me a week ago, I would have not cared in the least. Now, all of a sudden, this is a game that I'm really interested in. And if you're into small, quick guards, it's not really my cup of tea. But if that's what you like, there's hardly a better matchup possible in the NBA on that department than Trae Young and De'Aaron Fox.
Absolutely. I like them both.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your thing, if you like small, quick guards, that's your kind of game. Mavericks Celtics tonight on ESPN. That's probably the biggest game of the night that I'm going to be watching anyway. I think that's a great matchup. I think it's even potentially an NBA Finals preview potentially. I think the Mavericks need to right their ship a little bit. They've been floundering a little bit recently, particularly on the road. They're only 1-4 on the road. Celtics, meanwhile, 6-1 at home. I think the Mavericks are going to win this game. I think they're going to, I think this is a big statement opportunity for them. And I think Luka is going to have one of those games where he just reminds people of why he is who he is.
They need to make that statement.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree.
Portland at Cleveland intrigues me.
Interesting.
I will be at the Sabres game, but I will check this out later. But yeah, Portland is playing quite well. I think Cleveland just has too much for them.
Yep, I agree.
Wizards at Heat. Wizards are 10-7. The Heat are 7-11. Did you think you'd be looking at that at this time of year?
No, not at all. It's still hard to pick the Wizards to beat the Heat too. That's the funny thing.
I know.
But
what about Minnesota and Indiana?
Indiana has been playing really, really well.
They have.
This is an intriguing matchup. I think this game comes down to, does Indiana find a way to limit the offensive rebounds and second chance points of the Timberwolves? I think Indiana has the best player on the floor. At least the guy that's playing the best right now. That's Halliburton. I think the problem for Indiana is the Timberwolves have probably the next three best players after that, with Towns, Gobert, and Edwards. So
it depends which version you get of Towns and Edwards.
Well,
it really does.
Yes, it does. It's hard for me to pick the Pacers here just because I think the Timberwolves have a higher margin of error because of the guys I just mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Timberwolves win this game, but I think the Pacers have the single best player playing. And they are home, so it gives them a pretty good chance. I think this game's a toss-up.
I agree. Do I have a few seconds just to blast a couple things out there real quick? Aaron Judge met with the San Francisco Giants, and Jock Peterson is really working to recruit him. Any chance he goes?
Yes. I've been saying the Giants. I said the Giants before the Giants were like a popular thing. I thought that just made a lot of sense. He's from there. It's a team that's won recently. It's a team that has budget. That's a good market. They have an obvious need that he would fill. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. In fact, the last time I actually saw betting odds on this. The Giants are the odds-on favorite to sign him, as a matter of fact, according to Vegas.
Wow. This might be something for next week, but the NFLPA claims NFL owners colluded to prevent fully guaranteed player contracts. Yeah. And I think we should keep that for a more full discussion. And props to Justin Verlander and Albert Pujols. They won the MLB Comeback Players of the Year.
That's awesome. He wins the Comeback Player of the Year, and then he goes away forever.
Yeah. And Verlander's not far off.
Yeah, well, he's still playing, though. Well, there we go. Well, hey, everyone, have a great Thanksgiving. Eat lots of food.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Watch lots of football. And a little NBA in there, too. But definitely tune in for Giants Cowboys. I definitely will be. We will see you again on Monday. We'll be back then. And then next Tuesday, no show. And then back to our normal schedule from that point forward. So we will see you Monday. Enjoy a happy and delicious Thanksgiving weekend. For Rich Anselmo and our whole crew here at the Gary Ayd Show at Cave Talk Radio, I'm Gary. We'll see you next time. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.